Hi guys, what's up? So, I'm kind of puzzled. That wasn't the right start, but it's okay. So, we're gonna first burn some sage to clear the energy and maybe set an intention. So, yeah, let's do this. Okay, we're gonna let that burn and let's get right into it. So, for a little context, this video is kind of the same as the one that's called Things I Wish I Knew Sooner. So, but it's like big sister advice. So, let's jump right into it. Stop making things about you. Like most of the time, you make things about you, but they're not about you. Like, let's say you have an argument with a friend of yours and you're like, oh no, you don't even have an argument with a friend of yours, like everything's fine, just you feel like they're distant or something, and you're like, oh my god, what did I do? What did I say? Did I do the wrong thing? Did I say the wrong thing? Most of the time it's not about you. Like, people have their own lives, you know, like it can be pretty much anything and everything. So stop stressing out. I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with you. And if it has, people can just like talk to you about it and communicate, so you don't have to worry. They have to set up their boundaries and just communicate in a healthy way. Others are not our possessions. We do not own them. I always like to think about it like that. Like, in my life, it's free entrance. Like, if you want to come into my life, you're welcome. But like, more specifically, if you want to get out of my life, you're welcome. I do not want anything to be in my life. I don't want to be anyone to be in my life if they don't want to. Like, with me, never be afraid of like me trying to keep you in my life at all cost. Because if you want to leave, just leave, you know. And this is really important because I remember when I was younger, like, I definitely was the kind of person, like, I would fight so hard for people to just like stay in my life because they wanted to leave and I didn't want them to. And I think, like, when you get older, you just realize that you cannot make anyone stay. If people want to leave, let them leave. And maybe you guys just aren't meant to be together, whether it be a romantic relationship or a friendship, you know. You don't have to understand, this one is big. You don't have to understand someone's boundaries in order to or not to honor them. Like, you're not gonna understand everything that happened, you know. It's like the other day I was listening to a podcast. I think it was 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. The podcast is a French podcast that's called Canapé Six, and the title of the episode was Introvertie vs extravertie. So being introverted vs being an extrovert. And I used to think for the longest time that I used to think like I was an extrovert because I loved to be around people and I was good at it, and I was like I was thriving socially, you know. And I used to think that when you were the opposite, you were an introvert. But I learned, like, recently, thanks to this podcast, that it has nothing to do with that. Actually, being an introvert means that in order for you to recharge your batteries, you need to be alone, like completely alone. And It's like, you know, when your phone says low battery and you don't recharge it and then your phone dies. Basically, it's the same for me. Like sometimes I'm socially interacted with someone, or even just like with one person. It doesn't have to be like 10 people at once, you know. I can just be with one person and I can feel my social battery getting low, but I'm like, okay, we're just gonna push it. And then I push it and I can't function anymore because I feel so depleted. I have literally no battery. And I'm not mean, but I'm like, I just can't be fucked, you know? Like, I want, like, doing the bare minimum is gonna cost me so much, so I have to go straight to my place and, like, retreat, you know? And there are other people that are quite the opposite, actually, and they need others to recharge their batteries. Like, they don't like to be alone. They really like being around people. And to recharge their batteries, maybe they're gonna have to be with one or two close friends and just do like regular things, like go to the movies, go eat at the restaurant or something. But they have to be with people, you know. Like, they really dread being alone. And yeah, I used to be with I used to have a partner, and they were like quite the opposite. Like, so I'm an introvert and they were an extrovert, and it was so hard for me to understand like the fact that they couldn't be alone. I was like, something might be wrong with you, because for me, like, being alone is the basis. You have to know how to be alone by yourself. You have to be able to be alone if you want to enjoy like each other, like someone's company, or if you want just to function. Like, it's necessary for people to be alone, and I would not understand them, and it would be really, really hard for me to honor their boundaries when it comes to it, because I was like, that it literally doesn't make sense. And for them it was the same. Like, they needed to be surrounded by people all the time, and when I was vocalizing the fact that I really needed to be alone, they wouldn't understand it, and they would like take it personally and be like, oh my god, they don't love me anymore, they want to be apart, blah blah blah. And one of the examples that's given in the podcast that I really related to, because it really like literally happened to me. Like, I would be at home and with my partner, and I would be like, hey, I'm gonna take a shower, so I'll be right back. Like, just chill, you know, I'm gonna take a shower and I'm gonna be back. And my partner would be like, can I come with you? Like, I can just like sit in the corner and just, we can talk or whatever, you know. I just need to be around your presence. And I would be like, yes, sure, but it really didn't bother me, you know, most of the time. But sometimes I would be like, I really need my moment, you know, in the shower, to myself, to kind of recharge a little bit, you know. And so this podcast really helped me understand the difference, and understand the fact that you don't have to understand someone's boundaries in order to honor them. There are plenty of things you're not going to understand in life. It doesn't mean you have to like step over them. Stand up for yourself. It's your job. It's your job, not anyone else's. You might expect people, and oh my god, I would have loved to hear that when I was younger. You might expect people to be like psychics and know exactly what the fuck is going on up there. But odds are people are not psychics. And even if they were, they have other stuff to do that just read your mind. So it's your job to stand up for yourself. It's not others. Like, you have to set boundaries. You have to communicate if you think your boundaries were crossed. You have to like do, I don't know, weekly, monthly, biannually check in with people that are close to you, like, hey, how are we doing in this relationship, whatever. You have to stand up for yourself. No one's gonna knock at your door and be like, hey, I feel like there is something off with you, and like they have to really like be there for hours on end until you finally spit it out. This is not how it works, and the sooner you get that, the better, because it's gonna help you like have a clear mind and be at peace with yourself, because you're not gonna be constantly thinking about stuff that people did to you or how they hurt you. And you might even like change the narrative and be like, oh my god, they did that on purpose, and be paranoid and stuff. Stand up for yourself. And it's so empowering when you can just stand up for yourself. And yeah, especially this one, like when I was younger, I mean, I struggled with that a lot. Not so much. I think I'm good with it, but you know, from time to time it comes back. I mean, healing is not linear, but especially as an empath and as a people pleaser, I would just like put people's needs before mine, and really struggle to stand up for myself, because I was like, yeah, but if I stand up for myself, I'm gonna hurt them, and I don't want to put them in a position like where they might be hurt, you know, and I'd rather just suck it up. Let me tell you, in the long run, it only brought resentment and frustration and anger, and people in front of me were like, bitch, why didn't you talk to me about it sooner? Because if you bring up something that's happened like 6 months ago, what am I supposed to do with it? I don't even remember it, you know. And it's okay, you know, if you feel like confrontation, or you're really afraid of talking to someone about something like in face to face, it's the 21st century, baby. You're gonna figure it out. You can call, you can text, you can video call, you can write a letter. Like, there is plenty of things you can do. If you don't see a door, punch a hole in the wall and make one. Like, I remember this bit of interview I saw of Priyanka Chopra. She was, I think, at the beginning of her international career, and she was invited to the Grammys, so in Los Angeles. But she also was going to the premiere of one of her movies in Berlin, and she was, both things were the same night, but different time zones. And she was like, oh my god, it's the first time I've ever been invited to the Grammys. I want to go. And people were like, bro, there's your premiere. Like, you cannot just bounce. Everyone kept saying her no, and she was like, I'm gonna do both. Like, watch me. It took a little bit of organization, but at the end, she made it, and she went to both. So, if there is no way, make a way. It's okay to be wrong, make mistakes, and learn from them. I think mistakes are like the biggest teacher of all, and I think in the society in which we live in, it's so diabolized. Like, you don't have to make mistakes. You only can make mistakes, let's say, from the moment you're born until like 18, and then you can't fuck up. You have to have it like figured out, and you know, you have to be an adult. But you don't turn into an adult like from the moment you turn 16. Not 16, but from the moment you turn like 18 or 21, you know. And I think when you live in a world where you're not allowed to make mistakes, you just like beat yourself up when you make some, because we are humans. We are by definition flawed, and no matter how hard you try, you're gonna make mistakes eventually. Like, no matter how big or small they're gonna be, you're gonna make mistakes. So be at peace with that and embrace them, because behind every mistake you can learn. There is a huge opportunity to learn. Like, the things I'm the most proud of, and I know it's gonna sound like controversial, but are definitely my mistakes, because without, like, I learned so much, guys. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. I learned so much from my mistakes. Like, I wouldn't be who I am now. I wouldn't have found myself. I mean, it's not, the journey isn't over, of course, but I'm in a place in my life where I know that whatever's gonna happen to me, I'm gonna be fine, because I've built this strong foundation. Like, I know who I am, I know what I want, I know what I don't want, and this has been possible because of my mistakes, because I fucked up so bad. I had no other choice than just like learn from it, and also from the mistakes I was like repeatedly making. Learn from your mistake, guys. Your mistakes are your biggest teachers. And if you're... So this one is in French. Et si t'es prêt à gagner, c'est que t'es prêt à perdre. It's from a rap song, meaning if you are ready to win, you are ready to lose. Like, if you want something, be ready to lose it. And then go after it. I think it's important to keep that in mind. And if you can't handle the failure, then you won't be able to handle the success, because you have to fail a few times. No matter if it's like about a certain project of yours or in a grand scheme of things, you're gonna fail eventually. Like, everyone fails. We are humans, we make mistakes and we fail. Have a morning and a night routine. And I know there is this trend that's been going on for quite some time now about like that girl, and you have to have like a 20-ish step morning routine and stuff. It doesn't have to be the case, Your morning routine can be like just putting not touching your phone and during like your morning cup of coffee, and like for the 15 or 20 minutes that you need to take your coffee, you're just mindfully taking and sipping your coffee, Just try some stuff and see what works for you and what doesn't. And don't be afraid to move things around. Don't be afraid to try things. And then if after 21 days it doesn't work, just drop it and then try. And you can incorporate literally anything you want, like in your morning routine and night routine. Why I think those are really, really important and more than mandatory is that those are the moments when you're gonna be super emotional. Emotional is not the right word. Like, your subconscious mind and your conscious mind are just gonna melt, You're not 100% awake, but you're not 100% asleep. So you are kind of in this limbo. And I think those moments, like just right after you woke up and right before you sleep, you are influenced by everything around you times 100, guys. Like, you're gonna be like influenced so much more. Like, it's like you put like everything that you see in the morning. Let's say you watch the news every morning, like just right after you woke up. It's like you put the news and you just put them right inside your veins, This is why it's so important to be mindful about your morning and night routine. And I know, like, for me personally, I think I might do a video about it once I get a good camera, but I have a few things. Like, for example, on the weekends, I like to really take my time, read, have breakfast, meditate, all that jazz. And I'm gonna touch my phone like only after everything's completed. But I know sometimes I'm in a rush, and I can't do all of this, and it's time, and it's fine, I know I won't be able to meditate for like 30 minutes. That's fine. I'm just gonna do one thing, and the thing that I do like almost every morning, no matter what, is like meditate. And even if I'm like in a super rush and I only have like 5 minutes to give to it, I'm gonna meditate for 5 minutes. And if that's the only thing I have time to do that day, it's fine. Like, for me, meditating, it's top rank priority. So I will advise you to just like create a morning and a night routine, and just decide, like, if you're really in a rush or during, like, before bedtime, if you're really, really tired and you don't have time because, I don't know, you had a long day, whatever the reason might be, what is your thing, like the thing you can't sleep if you haven't done it, For me, before going to sleep, I think, I don't really know actually. No, I think like dimming the lights. Yeah, that's a ritual of mine. When I'm about like to enter my night routine phase, I try to dim the light, like really chill. My phone is of course on airplane mode. But yeah, My point being, move around, like have fun, play around with stuff. And it's not because you can't do like the 25 step morning routine that's drinking your coffee mindfully isn't part of your morning routine, you know. Create a ritual. That's what I'm getting at. Try to create a ritual to help you navigate through the day and be ready to whatever life or the day throws at you, you know. I know that if I don't have time to do my morning routine, like even if it's just like meditating for 5 minutes and something happens like in the morning, I know it's gonna take its toll on me, and it's gonna be really hard for me to get over that. Whereas when I have done my morning routine, I know it's gonna be easier for me to deal with whatever it is that life throws at me that day. Thanks guys so much for watching. I hope you had an amazing time. I also hope you like my hat. I love hats these days. So yeah, I hope it was really enjoyable for you. If you have any questions, please go down below, ask them. I reply to everything. And yeah, I love you so much. Have an amazing day. And don't forget, you're a queen, a king. You're a fucking royalty. Love you.